In particular, you've been looking at what the result of the Senate might mean for markets and for the economy. Well, what's your takeaway there?
Yeah, so let's run through a few scenarios. If Biden wins and you get a split Senate, or I'm sorry, a split Congress, and the Senate remains Republican, this may not be bad in the sense that you're not going to get any kind of corporate tax rate hike. So I want people to keep that in mind. That'll be very good for the markets. But you're also not going to get a very large stimulus package as well. So that's something that would be a negative. So you really have to balance those two things out. For investors, my guess is the corporate tax rate is much more important than a short-term stimulus plan. But that's one of the scenarios. Under a Trump victory with a split Senate or a split Congress, that's also not a bad thing. But you're just not going to get these large stimulus packages that I think the market's been hoping for.
So what do you think of the market's moves today? We're seeing this big rally and all the stimulus sensitive stocks are rallying. You think that's an expectation of a blue wave?
Yeah, and that's certainly something that I've been advising my clients on for, about 2 months now, is that's what I expect. I do expect a blue wave. I do expect a Biden victory. I do expect a significant win in the Senate. And they're going to need to get to about 53 to 47 for the Democrats really to be able to radically change things the way that they want. And certainly the programs that have been put forward by Biden. But if that margin of victory is only 51 to 49, I would just caution people about any kind of big progressive push, because you'll still have Joe Manchin and John Tester, who are relatively conservative Democrats, who will balance things out as far as overreach in some of those progressive policies.
Which sectors over a 4-year period, not necessarily immediately after the election result, which sectors would suffer the most if that result plays out that you expect?
Well, in the blue wave, I would say the energy sector, E&P, is going to be hurt, because clearly a Biden presidency will focus on clean energy. And he said that he's not going to ban fracking. And I believe that, because legally you can't do it. But boy, you can make it really hard to get a lease on federal lands. And that's over 40% of fracking. So keep that in mind. With low oil prices right now, maybe it doesn't matter for a little while, but that's certainly going to hurt. On the regulatory side, I would expect banks and financials to take some hits here, because you're going to see a very big push to re-regulate the banking industry, maybe increase the amount of capital that they need, and perhaps even non-bank SIFIs as well. So that's a sector I'd keep an eye
on. That's a new one. Andrew Busch, thank you for joining us.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.